Under Roman Abramovich, Chelsea Football Club was the biggest club in London and one of the biggest teams in England and in the world. They have won the Premier League 5 times and have been known for winning the Champions League twice. A truly prestigious club with a massive winning DNA. Chelsea were known to be winners and also known for having some of the biggest stars in world football play for them. Cesc Fabregas, Frank Lampard, Didier Drogba, John Terry, Eden Hazard, and the list just goes on. However, since Todd Boehly took over the club, the team now finds itself sitting mid-table and has completely lost spirit of its winning DNA. Coming off the back of last season under Todd Boehly's first season ever since he took over the club, the Blues went through a very disappointing season, sacking Thomas Tuchel 1 month into the season itself and bringing in the very promising Brighton manager Graham Potter. However, Potter's time at the club did not last that long either. In the same season, he got sacked. He got sacked in April, and Frank Lampard was brought in to become the interim manager until the end of the season, which also did not end that well either. That season, Chelsea Football Club finished their lowest position in such a long time, finishing 12th place, 27 points behind 4th place Newcastle. It was a huge summer for the Blues following a very disappointing season, and Todd Boehly had to take responsibility. Therefore, he brought in Maurizio Pochettino. Pochettino was brought in due to the football that he played at Tottenham, the high press, the good football that he played, possession-based. However, he was mainly brought in due to the youth development that he did at Tottenham, developing players and turning them into stars. In the summer transfer window, Chelsea spent £435 million in bringing in a wealth of youth talent. Players like Moises Caicedo, Romeo Lavia, Nicholas Jackson, Cole Palmer, with the expectation put on Pochettino to develop those players and turn them into stars and help Chelsea win. However, halfway into the season, it has turned out to be an absolute nightmare. It's currently March and Chelsea sit 11th in the table, 16 points behind 4th place Aston Villa, making their top 4 goals unrealistic. Due to this, the club atmosphere has become really toxic between the club and the fans, and a lot of the blame is being thrown on Pochettino, with reports coming out as well that Pochettino himself is very unhappy at the club and it does not like his time at Chelsea. After all of this going on at the football club, is Pochettino really the problem, or is there something else bigger happening behind the scenes that we just don't know about? It's time to find out. In the past, under previous owner Roman Abramovich, Chelsea's transfer strategy in the windows would be going for experienced players who would come in and instantly make an impact and help the team win right now. However, under new owner Todd Boehly, the American owner opted for a youth approach. Similar to what Brighton and Dortmund do at their football clubs, he wanted to bring in youth players with a lot of potential and develop them for the future and potentially sell them for big profit. However, the recruitment team did a terrible job in the transfer window, blowing most of the budget on players who were simply not built for the Premier League. Players like Mudryk, Madueke, Nicholas Jackson, who had very little experience in the top 5 league and coming into the club and being thrown into the firing line straight from the get-go. Not just that, 90% of Chelsea's signings under Todd Boehly have been massive flops, with the only 2 signings that were good were Enzo Fernandez and the main one, Cole Palmer. This all goes down to the recruitment team for failing to find players who are adapted for the Premier League and are adapted for Maurizio Pochettino's system. So in reality, Chelsea have been just spending money non-stop and throwing money at players who are simply not ready for the Premier League or not built for the Premier League. Players who would probably do well in Liga 1, Serie A, Bundesliga, La Liga, but simply are not built for the aggressive and high nature of the Premier League. Not just that, Maurizio Pochettino specifically requested for experienced players to also be brought in with the youth, to kind of be a mentor and a guide for the younger players that coming through at Chelsea. However, again, the recruitment team failed to deliver on that goal, as not a single experienced player was bought in that summer, leaving Pochettino with Thiago Silva, Raheem Sterling, and Reece James as his only really experienced players, which always meant the team was going to be inconsistent. Without any experience, without any leaders in the team, with a bunch of youth players, it was always going to be inconsistent. And further into the season, Pochettino kept mentioning in his press conference that the team needed experience. Although the transfer window was a complete bust-up from Chelsea viewpoint, Maurizio Pochettino also has to be put into the blame as well. During his time at the club, a lot of the players at the football club have struggled to adapt to his high-pressing game and his gegenpress tactics. For example, Caicedo, who was one of the best defensive midfielders in the league last season with Brighton, has come into Chelsea and has looked like a complete shadow of his player that he was. Another thing Pochettino has been heavily criticized by the Chelsea fans is playing players out of their normal position. For example, playing Levi Colwill at left back when he's a centre back, Dizazi, who's a centre back, playing at right back and expected to constantly overlap when he's clearly not good at that and he's only good at the defensive side of the game. Also, Pochettino leaving Caicedo alone in the midfield and pushing Enzo Fernandez higher up on the pitch, leaving Caicedo completely exposed by himself in the midfield on the counter-attack. Not even that, his substitutions have been heavily criticized by the Chelsea fans. His subs normally kill the team dynamics and the rhythm that they had going and completely allow the other team back into the game, which would ultimately lead to the team slipping up, bottling a lead, or even losing the game itself. So at the end of the day, even though Pochettino is to blame for Chelsea's struggles this season, a lot of the blame has also had to be put on the ownership as well. Todd Boehly, Vedat Iqbali, and the recruitment team in failing to back Pochettino in the summer. They failed to buy him players that fit his system, his tactics, and can really execute the game that Pochettino wants to play. And also, they failed to buy him some experienced players to guide the younger players at Chelsea. In the end of the day, I ultimately do think that Pochettino will get sacked at the end of the season. I don't think his performances have been good enough to justify why he should stay another season. However, it's very crystal clear to see that Pochettino isn't the problem alone, that there are bigger problems going on, especially on the higher up side of the club, looking at Todd Boehly, Vedat Iqbali, and especially the recruitment team, which all have to be held highly accountable for the downfall of Chelsea Football Club. If Chelsea do not throw out the recruitment team, in my opinion, I think that the same problems are going to continue to repeat. Whether they go in and get another very promising manager like a Xabi Alonso or Roberto De Zerbi or even a Nagelsmann, the same problems will continue, and the next season, same time, they will find themselves in the same position again. So they need to sort the recruitment out in order to get the club back to where it belongs. So, what do you guys think the problem is? Do you guys think Pochettino's the problem, Todd Boehly's the problem, the recruitment team, or something else that I may not have mentioned? Let me know. How do you guys think Chelsea can get back to the top? Let me know as well. Thanks for watching. Take care.